The observation deck of the Galactic Training Academy was abuzz with tension as 37 cadets anxiously peered through the reinforced glass. Below them, in the Xeno-Wildlife Studies biodome, something extraordinary was unfolding. Talia Rhodess, a cadet, stood alone in the center of the clearing, the dust from her morning drills still on her academy uniform. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical bun, and her brown eyes scanned the dense purple foliage before her. She wasn't supposed to be here, none of them were. But when a distress call came in about an escaped specimen, Talia was the first to act, rushing through the airlock without a second thought. "She's insane," a Thoraxian cadet whispered anxiously, his scales shimmering in distress. "That's a Moriku Cub. Do you understand what that means?" The others knew well what the Moriku were. These apex predators from Gamma Serpentis 4 were a nightmare of the galaxy, a death world that made Earth look like paradise. An adult Moriku was a towering 3 meters tall, with retractable crystalline claws capable of slicing through durasteel. Their bite force was in the tens of thousands of psi. Even a cub, though smaller, was capable of killing most sentient species. 2 hours ago, this cub had escaped from the xenobiology labs, injuring 3 security personnel and sending a Krell warrior, known for their combat prowess, running for medical aid. "Someone needs to stop her," whispered Jolna, a methane-breathing Corvian. But no one moved. By the time they reached the biodome floor, it would likely be too late. Down below, Talia stood still, listening intently. The ground vibrated beneath her feet as the cub's heavy steps grew louder. The creature was neigh. Talia's training told her to activate the emergency stasis field and retreat, letting the automated systems handle the situation. But she had never been one to follow orders blindly. Suddenly, the dense foliage exploded outward as the Moriku Cub emerged. It was enormous, already the size of an earth lion, its midnight black fur shimmering with bioluminescent patterns. Its 6 eyes, arranged in 2 rows across its skull, fixed on Talia with a deadly, predatory intensity. The creature roared, and several cadets in the observation deck flinched, covering their auditory organs. Then, it charged. In the observation room, Cadet Velta shut his eyes. He couldn't bear to watch a fellow cadet meet such a grim fate. But death never came. Instead, Talia dropped into a crouch, spread her arms wide, and yelled at the top of her lungs, "Come here, baby Mo." What happened next would shock everyone in the observation deck and spark debates for decades. The cub, which should have plowed into Talia with enough force to crush her, suddenly skidded to a halt. Its 6 eyes widened, its crystalline ears perked forward, and it emitted a sound, like a chirp, that no one expected. It bounded toward Talia, not to strike, but to greet her. The force of the impact knocked Talia back, but she wasn't being mauled. Instead, the cub, now more than 600 pounds of muscle, was lying on top of her, its massive head resting gently on her chest. It purred, a sound resembling distant thunder. Talia, unfazed, laughed and petted the creature. "Good boy. Yes, you're such a good boy. Were you scared?" She continued, I know. Those mean security people didn't understand, did they?" As she wrapped her arms around the cub's neck, it responded by licking her face with a tongue capable of stripping flesh from bone. But instead, it was gentle, almost reverent. The cadets were speechless. This creature, a deadly apex predator, was acting like a harmless, playful pet. Instructor Catharis, the Zelonian combat specialist who had just arrived on the observation deck, was the first to speak. "This is impossible," she murmured. "Moriku are solitary hunters. They don't form bonds. They don't do that." But the evidence was clear. Talia, without any visible fear, had somehow coaxed the cub onto its back and was rubbing its belly, an action that no other creature had ever dared, not even among Moriku themselves. The cub kicked its legs in joy, and its bioluminescent patterns pulsed in contentment. Cadet Pixel, a research track student, spoke up. "I think I might know, instructor. I've been studying Moriku." His voice was tentative but growing in confidence. Talia is from Earth, which is classified as a Class 7 death world. Humans there evolved alongside apex predators, but they did something unusual. They domesticated many of them and turned them into companions. They called them pets. The concept was baffling to the aliens. Pets. Moriku, the ultimate predators, forming a bond with a human. Pixel continued, gaining confidence as he explained. This cub killed 3 security personnel because they approached it with weapons and treated it as a threat. Talia, though, approached it differently. She saw a scared baby, not a monster. And somehow, the cub responded. The cadets in the observation deck watched in awe as Talia, still scratching behind the cub's ears, gently guided it back toward the xenobiology labs. The Moriku Cub followed her, like an oversized puppy, its tail wagging joyfully. The cadets were stunned. It was as if Talia had tamed the untamable. Velka, his voice trembling, finally spoke. Humans are terrifying. Instructor Catharus nodded, her mandibles clicking in what might have been respect. No, cadet, she said quietly. Humans are something far more dangerous than terrifying. They are compassionate, and apparently, nothing in the galaxy is immune to that. As Talia and the Moriku Cub disappeared through the airlock, the cadets remained silent, pondering what they had just witnessed. For all the galaxy's deadliest predators, there was one thing they didn't understand about humans: their ability to connect with even the most dangerous creatures, turning fear into affection. Talia Rhodess had proved that compassion could tame even the most terrifying apex predator, and that, the galaxy would learn, was a force to be reckoned with.